Of course, when I move it up here, I'll start recording. Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I got a big horror film review for you guys. It's a horror film, Fatal 4-Way. 4 films being reviewed. Parts 2 and 3 for Sleepaway Camp. Well, the order I saw them was parts 2 and 3, Sleepaway Camp, then Corpse Grinders 3, and then P2. But I'm going to save Corpse Grinders 3 for last because I can tell you my whole history with the Corpse Grinders films. And as far as Sleepaway Camp goes, a while back, Krazy Kooking asked me to do a review of Sleepaway Camp. And it was on YouTube, and I reviewed it, and I liked it. I saw like half of it in Fort Gordon, Georgia during AIT back in, back in 80s. No, back in 88. And when I saw it, I saw half of it. I hated it. But I knew the ending. The ending was shocking, though. But, seeing it again, I really grew appreciation for it. And also, I miss the slasher genre, especially the 80s slasher genre, because I miss the 80s. And I did like it. It's like a horror comedy, because all the killings are really, just really off, or just really weird. It has a weird tone to it. It's supposed to be comedic, too, and it's really strange. And then, when I got out of the Army, in Golden Dawn, they used to have a video rental place, and they had like 2 of the Sleepaway Camp movies, parts 2 and 3. I think they had parts 2 and 3, or they just had part 2. I saw part 3 somewhere else, but I know that all 3 of them were on like different video labels. I know the first one was Media Home Entertainment for Sleepaway Camp. I can't remember the labels for the other 2. And I did rent one of them. I couldn't remember which one it was. And then upon seeing them again I saw them both on Tubi TV for free. I rented Sleepaway Camp 2, which I really liked. Well, anyways, going back to Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, I saw those yesterday. And it was weird because MGM actually bought the rights to them. Because MGM has been buying the rights to lots of low-budget movies. Because I know Orion had the rights to the old American International, and then MGM bought it for them when Orion went bankrupt, And MGM's been buying like strange things. Like there's like that one female prison movie. It's like had it been a porno with all the sex edited out. I remember seeing it on Netflix of all things, very low budget. MGM bought the rights to it. I know my dad liked that one. I can't remember what the hell it was. It was on. They have it on late night block on Epix on demand. I can't remember, some prison something, but there's nothing like any prison you'd ever see. It's still really dirty though, but with all the graphic X-rated sex cut out of it. Well, anyways, they bought the rights to Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3. I was really surprised they did. And they're both from Double Helix Films, and they star Pamela Springsteen, who is actually Bruce Springsteen's sister. And the full title of the second one is Sleepaway Camp 2 Unhappy Campers. It came out in 1988. And basically this revolves around Pamela Springsteen is the killer. And you find that out early on in the movie. I'm not giving away any spoilers. And her name's Angela. And then in this one, she is a full-on girl. She got a sex change and stuff like that in this one. And she's a camp counselor, and she goes around killing all the students, all the campers that don't act properly. If they do drugs or have sex or swear or show their boobs or whatever like that, she ends up killing them. And that, that's no secret or anything like that. And it's done in a very silly way. In a funny way. But it's not like the funniest of the things, but it's very goofy. And she plays like a real wholesome character. She kills people. And I was saying in my head, yeah, she seemed like, I was thinking about my review, and I said she seems like the person who's saying Kumbaya. And she sings it later on in the movie during the last half hour or so. But it's really goofy. She does like crazy things, like, she's looking, she's going to drive this one girl home. She said, I'd give you one last chance to say you're sorry. And I said, I ain't doing that. And she said, and then she went and looked in the bag and said, and the girl said, "What are you looking for, a gun?" And he goes, "No, a drill." And she drills her and kills her and stuff. It's really silly. But very entertaining. They're more polished. They look more. They look like they're shot on video. They're very. I mean, because the first one is definitely shot on film, and it has some flaws to it. This one seems like it's very more well made, but very low budget though. And the camp is a lot different in this one. I mean, but it's very entertaining. I give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. They show a lot of gore. Now the third one, and the final one, is called Sleepaway Camp 3 Teenage Wasteland. That's the full title. And this one, as far as I'm concerned, is my favorite of the three. And it's a lot different than the other one. This one, like, all of a sudden, it's really weird because this one girl's going to go to camp. And there's lots of female nudity in both movies. And this girl's going to go to camp, and all of a sudden she walks to the bus, and then this giant garbage truck comes and runs her over, and it's Angela. And Angela dresses up like her, and she sneaks back into the camp. It's really weird. I don't know how she knew that girl was going to thing. And it said camp. It said Angela's back. And they have a heavy metal soundtrack, just like in the second one, but it's not like full-on brutal metal like Cannibal Corpse or something like that. It's like more like top 40 heavy metal, but I mean still pretty good, and it fits the spirit of the movie. And also with these movies are usually relatives of very famous people. Like they had one of James Earl Jones's relative in the first one, and this one second one they had like an Estevez, and they had Springsteen. This one they had Spanish, but it also has Michael J. Pollard, famous actor Mike J. Pollard in it, and he is awesome in this one. Even though he gets killed early on, no big spoiler though, but I know exactly, if you see the movie, you know exactly why he signed on to do it. I know I would have. But this one is, there's two people, a husband and wife team, that buy the camp, and they don't want anyone to know that there's been any murders in the camp. They buy the same camp. And they have an experiment, and they have like a TV reporter interviewing the kids, and like half of the kids are from the right side of the tracks, like good upstanding citizens, and the other kids are from the wrong side of the tracks, like either poor or like criminals types, you know. And it's a neat dynamic between the two, and each one's a lot of the people are very ignorant, but it's very funny, and Michael J. Pollard is super funny in this. Now this one is a real comedy. I mean, there's some goofiness in the first two, and some laughs in a very bizarre way, but this one really has some real laughs in it, and it's really funny. I think, and it moves along in a slower pace, and you see Angela going back in the camp, and it takes it from a different approach. And I know that Video Hound Retriever gave this no stars, give it a wolf, but I think this is the best one of the series. And there's lots of crazy stuff in it, but the weird thing is there's not that much gore. It looks like the gore's been edited out. But they have like a scene, this guy say he likes being tied up. She said, well, I'll tie you this behind the street. She grabs both his arms, ties him up, and then she ties the Jeep, and she takes the Jeep off and pulls his arms off, but you barely see it. I mean, but it's a very fast-paced movie, and the characters, you know, they all get killed anyway. There's no spoiler in this movies like this, but they actually are more developed than you care about. I mean, you know, each one in the second one, even the first one, they weren't as developed or drawn out. This one, they're really drawn out. I really like it. And they really take a different approach. I think it's very creative. It's definitely a forgotten film. But I really liked it. And I give that one a full-on 10 out of 10. Now, the next movie is P2. And the weird thing about P2 is back in, I believe it came out in 2007. I've been wanting to see it, and I keep putting it on the back burner, but I remember seeing the commercials for it. When it originally came out, I wanted to see it, and it was one of those movies that was heavily advertised for a little while, and then it came out to the theaters, and it was gone like in a week or two. It must have bombed really bad. And it involves this one girl in this high-rise apartment who works for this one company. Not high-rise building, not apartment, but she works for this company, and she's staying late on Christmas Eve. She must be a workaholic. And she said, well, I guess it's time to go. And she goes goes down to the parking garage on P2 where her car is parked, and her car won't start. And she goes to see the creepy guard, security guard there. And later on, I mean, it's no real big surprise. She ends up getting locked in there, and she gets held against her will. And it's a very entertaining film. I liked it a lot. And even though it gets silly when the guy starts acting like Elvis, towards the last half hour gets silly, especially when the guy starts acting like Elvis singing Blue Christmas. But I think it's a very entertaining film. Boy, Rotten Tomatoes gave it like 35%. It said 37% of the audience didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it. It moves along at a good pace, and the one weird thing is the captor, the guy who captures the girl, he's very humanized, because they have, like, real dialogue. Sometimes the dialogue's a little funny and silly, and it does get silly at parts, but, it is enjoyable. I give P2 about a 9.5 out of 10. Very enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I repeated myself again. Now, I wanted to talk to you about my history with the Corpse Grinders movies. Now, and then it's going to end with my review of the new one, well, the last one I saw, Corpse Grinders 3. Well, a long time ago, I remember seeing ads in the paper, and Tony, my friend Tony Talant, was kind enough to do like a really cool Fatal 4-Way horror themed thumbnail for me, and I asked for the one for Corpse Grinders 3, but he put like the classic newspaper ad for the driving for Corpse Grinders 3, the original Corpse Grinders, which is fine. It's really cool. I remember seeing it as a kid. I said, boy, that looks like the grossest movie ever made. And I remember asking my friend about it, and my friend, Troy Saldus, in school said he saw it on the Late Show a long, long time ago. And he's like, no way they'd show something that gross on there. And he said, yeah. He said he didn't remember being gross at all. He said, like, these guys have, like, this giant cardboard box, and they work for a cat food company. And they grind these, they have this caretaker give them dead bodies from the graveyard. And they put them in this giant cardboard thing that grinds them up and puts them in the cans of cat food. And then the cats eat the cat food, and then they attack their owners. They become killer kitties. And he told me about that. I was like, boy, that doesn't sound true at all. And then I eventually saw the trailer for it in Mad Rock's Previews from Hell when I was at Fort Detrick, Maryland. And not until like a few years later after the Army, I found it at Buyers Fair. Because I was always looking for the movie. I found it at Buyers Fair. It was on United Film Distribution, one of the public domain companies that sell like VHS tapes. I think I got it for like $5 at Buyers Fair. And I saw it and I really enjoyed it. It has a neat color scheme. It's very low budget. Very poorly acted. It was made all the way back in 1971. I thought it was an R-rated movie from you see the ad in the paper. It looks super gory, but it's probably about a PG-13. There's almost no gore in it except for maybe a couple cat scratches and maybe the meat coming out looks a little gross. And that's about it. No gore in it. And I really enjoyed the film. I saw it a few times, and then I remember when Dad and I were renting, there was a time when we were ordering a lot of movies from Alpha Delta distributors out of Nerberth, PA. And then they became Alpha distributors, but they were Alpha Delta for a long time. And they had like, they did a lot of public domain DVDs and stuff. And then they had like another company called, they had like a side thing where they had like more independent films, newer independent films. And they were carrying like the Ted V. Michaels movies. And then he did a sequel, Corpse Grinders 2. And I said, oh man, I got to get that. I remember ordering it, and they sent me the original Corpse Grinders. I said, I don't want that one, I want the second one. So I sent it back, and they finally sent me the real one. And I saw it, and it's shot on video, and it's really strange. It opens up where they have like these cat people from outer space, not to be confused with a cat from outer space, which is an awesome Disney film. And they have like this space battle that's really badly done. It didn't even make any sense how they were flying and shooting and stuff. It didn't make any sense. And then Ted V. Michaels did an audio commentary in the movie, and then basically his commentary was just like they had like a blow of dialogue, and he'd read the dialogue, or he said, well, this is when they're shooting each other. Well, yeah, that's what we're seeing. His audio commentary was just saying what was going on the screen and stuff like that. It didn't really have much insight into it. And basically the movie is like kind of like a remake of the original, and about this one company, the Lotus Cat Food Company, and the relatives of the original owners open it back up, and they want to make the cat food again. They use dead bodies, and like I said, the cats become killers. And then there's the only thing different, they introduce the cat people from outer space, and they can communicate with cats, and they want that cat food to take to their planet. They really like that stuff. It's a very these movies aren't good, but they're so bad they're good. They're very. This is a very entertaining movie. I thought it was more interesting seeing how the business was run. Because, like, the first movie was, like, 73 minutes, and I think I timed it as, like, 66 minutes or something like that. It's very short, and this one is really drawn out. It's like an hour and 42 minutes. I'm like, oh, my God. But, I mean, I saw it a couple times, and it was very entertaining. I did enjoy it. I'd probably give that a 8.5 out of 10. Now, this third one, I saw it on Tubi TV. I saw all four of these on Tubi TV, and what Tubi TV is a live streaming service I got on my Roku, but it has commercials. You can see the movies for free, but it has commercials, not like Netflix. And basically what I did is, Tubi TV shows a big commercial block. Every commercial block had like 5 commercials in it. And it goes for a commercial block like every 10 minutes of the movie. And what I did was, my best thing was I muted the commercials. So that was pretty cool. But then they were showing commercials for Shin Godzilla. That's a special engagement, limited time run for like a week at theaters. That looked good. And that's how, you can get over commercials. Cause I know my dad always gave me hell when I watched it. He said, oh my God, another block of commercials. I was like, how is she going to see these movies for free? I don't really want to see them anyway, so. We didn't watch a lot of Tubi TV. Well, I do now, but back then I didn't. I know my dad would have hated this movie. And now, Corpse Grinders 3, here comes the review. It wasn't even directed by Ted Michaels. It was made in Spain. And a little bit was filmed in Florida. And it's really bad. It starts out with this one company. I remember these 2 bald guys. One has a patch over his eye and goes, a lot. And the other guy just talks. They're both slow-witted, I guess. And they have like this one guy, and the thing is with all these Spanish actors is they phonetically speak their English dialogue, and I think some of the English dialogue is dubbed. I think some of it's dubbed, and it's the biggest problem is sometimes it's really hard to understand what they're saying. These are like heavy, thick accents, and basically, at the beginning they have this one company, and they show these guys grinding it by hand and making the cat food, and then the one cat dies who eats it, and then all of a sudden, they're out of business, and this one entrepreneur from America comes in, and he has a bad accent too, and he wants to start up the company again, and he has like this giant machine, and that's the corpse grinder, but it takes about 20 to 25 minutes to get to that point, at least I think it does. And they have a lot of bull crap about, like, they want to go do this fair thing and cat fair, and the mayor wants to have all this politics involved and wants to charge them a lot of money, and the mayor is incredibly boring. Most of these characters are really terrible. Not terrible as in bad people, terrible as in boring. And this movie really drags out. It's like an hour and 82 minutes, and the weird thing is, on Tubi TV it was an hour, the running time was an hour and 2 minutes. I thought that's how long the movie was, but then it cuts off. They didn't put the full-length movie on there, and I went to Masters of Horror, or Masters of Horror, Horror of Horrors, or something like that. Just one channel that has nothing but horror movies on there. They have Jurassic Shark, which I'll probably be watching, do an individual review of that. It's just terrible. The cats eventually become killers. There's actually more gore in this, because there was no real gore in the first one or the second one. The second one, the meat that came out from the grinder looked real bloody, but that's about as gory as it got. From the title you expect these to be bloodbaths. There's not a ton of gore in this one, but far more than in the other 2. There's a few really good scenes, and they had like a scene where this guy's making out with this girl, probably the dirtiest scene in the series. And of course they just show the guy naked. They don't show the female naked. And all of a sudden he looks under there, and he says, hey, there's someone that attacked me, and the cat clawed him, and then the cat drug him out of the bed. You see the bed shaking and blood spurting everywhere, because the cats eventually become killers, and they love this food, though. And there's a few interesting scenes. The last 8 minutes, if the whole movie would have been like the last 8 minutes, then maybe it would have been something, but I don't know. There's a scene with a motorcycle gang. I wish they would have had more goofy stuff like that, but it's just really drawn out with a bunch of very boring characters and a very boring locale. And like that one guy, the American entrepreneur, I guess he has like connections in Florida, and it was from the mafia. And they say, hey, we were trying to make money off that, but I don't see how they could make any money selling this cheapo cat food. I mean, it's now. I mean, I've seen the original Corpse Grinders. That's my favorite of the series, and the second one's pretty good, not too shabby. I've seen both those a few times, especially the first one. But this one is definitely a one-time view. I couldn't imagine watching this again. This one probably gets a 4.5 out of 10 for Corpse Grinders 3. So there you have it. I hope you like this Fatal 4-Way horror review. Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland, my favorite of Sleepaway Camp movies. P2, and not to be confused with K2, my sister's cat, or Roland's cat. And then finally, my history of the Corpse Grinders movies and a review of Corpse Grinders 3. So, hope you like this Fatal 4-Way of horror films. And until next time, bye, please take care of my legion. That's why I do these long-winded ones on webcam. Alright, take care, everyone.